Good afternoon and welcome to SAIT Newsfile. I'm Matt Pouncey. Keith Richards will have sports coming up, but first, let's check in with Alex Day with the weather.
Hey Matt, it's not too bad out here. The snow is coming down a little bit, but just a light dusting. It's about 1 degree today, so pretty decent there. If you look back a year ago, 7 degrees was the high, so a bit better. But if you go back just over 100 years to 1913, 26.7 degrees was the high, and we can all just dream of that right now. Maybe in May we'll get something like that. But over the weekend, we're going to see some double-digit temperatures. It's pretty wet today across Alberta and across Canada. But hold on just one more day, and we're going to get a little bit of sun out and get warmer. So look out for that. Matt?
Thanks, Alex. I can't wait for the sun to come back and heat up a little bit. But Keith, speaking of things heating up, Pittsburgh Penguins last night got off to a hot start in those NHL playoffs.
Wow, no kidding. Sidney Crosby doing Sidney Crosby things. I mean, it seems like he's batting a puck out of the air almost every other night. And once again, showing why he's the best player in the world.
Yeah, I wish I had those hands.
Wouldn't that be nice?
After the tragedy involving the Humboldt Broncos, Canadian hearts have been aching for the Saskatchewan town. Schools across the country are taking action to show their support and honor the team. Ruel James joins us live from the SAIT Campus Center. Ruel, I've noticed SAIT has joined in the celebrating of the lives of those lost.
Matt, the mood in the school has been almost palpable today, with hundreds of students choosing to wear jerseys and walk around the school. Today is the flag is flying at half-mast on the top of the Heritage Hall. The school buildings were filled with people wearing jerseys. Hockey sticks for the boys to use are resting outside the arena doors, and a moment of silence was held just a half an hour ago here in the Trojans Arena. Students all around the campus feel that it's important to show support for the families and the community to help get through these difficult times.
It's fun to represent your team, but I think in the context of today, it shows like community.
I think it's just important to show support.
I think it's important because it's a sense of unity, We can all stand together in the midst of a tragedy and show that we are all Broncos.
As you can see, many students choosing to show their sense of community, to stand with the families and help them get through these times. Back to you, Matt.
Ruel James reporting live from the SAIT Campus Center. Meanwhile, SAIT isn't the only school participating in Jersey Day. Zach Amin tells us a Calgary high school is coming together to show support for those affected by the tragedy.
16 lives taken much too early. A bus crash that will be remembered as one of the darkest days in Canadian history. But in Calgary, FFCA High School has most students and staff wearing jerseys today in support of those still dealing with the loss.
That's one of the best ways for us to help out the victims, to show that everyone's behind them and that they have someone to turn to for help, even if it's a complete stranger.
The students decided to go ahead with the jerseys after seeing the idea circling around social media. The school also has sticks set up to honor those who have lost their lives. 16 sticks with pictures of staff and players alike.
You know that none of them would have expected what would happen that night getting onto the bus, and that they were just going to go play a playoff game, and then you hear it on the news and everything that happened, and just heartbreaking.
For some students who have played hockey or even been on buses in the past, the tragedy hits home even harder.
Being on the buses and everything, you definitely know the atmosphere, and even for my parents and stuff, just letting me go on these buses and now seeing this accident happen, they're scared almost to a certain extent about these buses.
You can't stop living your life because of a tragedy. You have to step up and say, you know what, this is a part of who we are. We're athletes, we're parents, our kids love this stuff. And even though there's dangers involved, you try to minimize those, of course, kids first, but at the same time, you can't stop living your life. And I think that's the message that we try to send to our students, and I think as a dad, that's the message I would try to send to my son.
A strong message that should resonate with most Canadians. For SAIT Newsfile, I'm Zach Amin.
The fatality inquiry continued today at Calgary's courts involving the death of twin brothers Evan and Jordan Caldwell. The brothers had snuck into COP on February 6, 2016 and passed after crashing into a barricaded area on the bobsled run. Winsport COO John Sutherland said today they are continuing to look at the technologies which can enhance safety at COP. The purpose of this hearing is to determine what steps might be taken to prevent similar deaths in the future. Final exams and graduation are just around the corner, and students are dealing with stress more than ever. In response to this, the University of Calgary started a new grant in hopes of encouraging students and staff to come up with new ways to address mental health problems. Eban Adewale has the story.
The University of Calgary has opened mental health strategy grants to students and staff for projects that address mental health problems on campus. The grants are open to anyone on campus and intend to engage the community with mental health initiatives and solutions.
We often know that disclosure and talking about mental health are stigmatized and taboo, especially within academics, and having that conversation with supervisors is quite difficult. But in many cases, having that conversation is necessary.
Applications must adhere to the recommendations of the mental health strategy and are evaluated by committee, including stakeholders across U of C. While the grants are confined to the university, this strategy has caught the attention of other post-secondaries across Calgary, including SAIT. Sarah Hogendorp, a coordinator at the Peer Support Center, says the grants are inspirational, and while SAIT has not implemented the same strategy, they want students to know initiatives and ideas on how to handle mental health are always welcome.
At SAIT here we've got really bright students with a lot of very entrepreneurial type ideas, and I would love to see something that kind of encouraged students to come up with their own ideas about how to improve mental health. I know as a person who does try to provide mental health services to students, that right now SAIT is just trying to get the word out there that we do have the services.
Based on the advanced ed funding that the government of Alberta has given to all post-secondaries, they are actually supposed to create campus mental health strategies for their campuses. So we're starting to hear from other campuses wanting to learn about our experiences.
Various projects applying for the grant address topics such as substance abuse, diversity, health issues, and asking for help. The campus mental health strategy can grant participants up to $10,000 each, and there's no limit to the amount of people or groups that can apply. The 5-year initiative is in talks with other schools, such as Mount Royal or SAIT, in hopes of spreading this strategy to others all over Calgary. Registration ends April 30th. For SAIT Newsfile, I'm Eban Adewale.
Calgary's pursuit of a 2026 Winter Olympic bid may be in jeopardy. A city council committee agreed Tuesday that a vote is needed on whether or not to proceed with any further investment into the bid process. Some councillors are arguing that a lack of transparency in the process may be leaving Calgarians in the dark. Ruel James went to council chambers today to see how councillors are feeling about the process.
Well, I think we should be concerned with the level of transparency because if the public doesn't know and doesn't have the information, which I was advocating for, how can you make a decision?
Another Olympics could mean a multi-billion-dollar influx for projects all around Calgary, including upgrades to some of the city's 40-year-old winter sports facilities and funding for brand new ones. But several council members raised concerns Tuesday about missteps and a lack of neutrality on the part of the city's Olympic project team. Among those concerns was the city's decision to fill a subcommittee tasked with public outreach with people that stand to benefit from the Olympics coming to Calgary.
Well, as you heard yesterday and you saw, and a lot of public asked the same question, is that many of you on the subcommittee are the cheerleader, as I heard on council floor, of Olympic.
But not all councillors are convinced that the subcommittee is a bad idea.
I think it's important to have that subcommittee maybe tinker with it and add some members of the public to add some additional oversight, but that's the whole point of a bidco. The whole point of going to a bidco is so we have that independent oversight with all partners involved in making a decision.
Clearly, there is some worry regarding the transparency around the bid in Calgary, and with some council members already saying that this bid may be dead in the water, it is getting harder and harder to see a Calgary that may host the Olympics in 2026. For SAIT Newsfile, I'm Ruel James.
It's a long wait for Calgarians trying to cross the road at 25th Avenue and McLeod Trail. Frustration has boiled over, and the city is finally in talks about a solution to the troublesome intersection. With wait times reaching anywhere from 3 to even 20 minutes, people are reaching their boiling point, prompting some to even break the law just to avoid massive wait times. It's becoming quite evident Calgarians have had enough.
It's the worst intersection in Calgary, man. The lights take at least 3 minutes each way, and sometimes it's not even 3 minutes. There'll be like 3 seconds on that one, and you don't even get to cross. They've got to do something with this.
As much as people want change, that could lead to an expensive fix. The city has proposed a flyover or elevated LRT station. Whether or not the public is willing to fork out the big bucks for the change, Calgarians have had just about enough. Every day, thousands of people use Calgary's transit. As the city has grown, so too has the demand for more accessibility without the use of a personal vehicle. To combat this, the city has decided to add a third light rail transit line running north to south. Early construction on the Green Line is underway, but the stations and tracks will not be started until 2020. Jane Bugeaud has more on how the new line will help the city in more ways than one.
Were approved by council in June of 2017. With such a big project on hand, the city is making sure to consider how the process will affect nearby businesses and neighborhoods.
We're actually working on a plan right now in terms of how we handle that and how we manage that with each individual business and with community associations and with the people living in those communities, and how we'll manage the construction and the traffic flow. But we are expecting that the construction of this line will be pretty intensive and extensive.
Although the effects of the construction will be extremely noticeable, the city believes the future benefits far outweigh the short-term drawbacks.
It will have a lot of benefits, a lot of social benefits, a lot of economic benefits in terms of allowing people to have the flexibility to live more sustainably, to live in communities that are well connected by transit.
The first 20 kilometers in this project, stretching from the deep southeast to 16th Ave North, is the first steps in Calgary's biggest infrastructure investment ever. Not only will it bring people into downtown, but it will also connect growing areas like here in Quarry Park.
We have a very commuter-based transit system that does bring the majority of people in and out of the downtown core. What the Green Line will actually do is it will enable people to reach other places in the city as well, and so it will allow areas like Quarry Park to grow. And so Quarry Park is becoming quickly one of the bigger employment centers outside of the downtown core.
In the next decade, Calgarians will be able to save time and money with this new addition to the city's transit system, whether you're traveling to work, school, or play. For SAIT Newsfile, I'm Jane Bugeaud.
With graduation right around the corner, students will be looking forward to family and friends coming from all over the country to celebrate their accomplishments. While many think of residence as a temporary home for students and instructors, SAIT's residence is hoping to change that and attract more attention from others outside of campus. The top floor of SAIT's Big End Tower just recently got a makeover, creating a more luxurious stay on the 22nd floor. After noticing more people were staying in hotels or finding other accommodations when visiting Calgary, SAIT residents is hoping the new renovations attract more parents and families to stay on campus.
We've taken some of the rooms on the 22nd floor and we've renovated them to be more suitable for parents when they come and visit students. So they have been just upgraded aesthetically. So they are the same layout. We've just taken one of the rooms and converted it to a den and upgraded a bit of the inside of the room to make it a bit more cozy for parents that come through.
Family and friends will be able to get a taste of SAIT life when visiting from out of town, and employees will be able to take advantage of a discount during their stay as well. Suites for a night stay range between $110 to $170, and weekly rates are between $600 to $1,000. Those are today's top stories. We'll have a full forecast for you after the break, but first, Alex Day has events going on this weekend for your families, artists, and game show fans.
It's a new car, or at least it could be if you go to The Price is Right Live this weekend with 3 shows over 2 days. There will be plenty of opportunities for you to be the next contestant on the hit game show, and come on down. Want to get back to your roots or new to Cowtown and want to know why the city is so beautifully named? Aggie Days is a free 2-day event at the Nutrien Western Event Center. You can spend time with farm animals and learn about how agriculture and farming happens. The Calgary Women's Show is back in town this weekend with fashion shows, demonstrations, and celebrity guests, not to mention more than 300 exhibitors that will fill the BMO Center. Go to calgarywomenshow.com for more info. Looking for something a bit more classical? Head to calgaryopera.com to get your tickets for Tosca. The 5th most produced opera in the world is coming to Calgary April 14th to 20th. Love, revenge, betrayal, it's all there in front of your eyes.
And welcome back, Alex. The freezing rain outside, I know that gave us quite an adventure to school this morning.
Yeah, there was fog and freezing rain, and I almost fell on the way to school. Thanks to you, I managed to stay on my feet.
Hey, I always make sure I got your back.
I appreciate that.
a lot of other people were affected. The freezing rain plunged thousands of Calgarians into darkness early this morning. The outage affected streetlights at the intersection of Heritage Drive and Elbow Drive Southwest, causing a 2-car accident. The patches of ice can provide a risk for people walking on the sidewalks as well. Some of the worst spots are when you are leaving a sidewalk to cross the street or turning a corner on the banked slope. Some SAIT students also had an adventurous walk to school today.
It should be sunny out, you know?
I'm from Jamaica, so I can't wait until it's gone.
It sucks.
It really does
awful.
suck. I was wearing flip-flops this time last year.
Yeah, me too.
It's just way too long. I mean, like at this time of the year, it's just sunny by this time, so it's getting kind of tiring.
So it doesn't feel like spring here in Calgary right now, but trust me, it's on its way. Looking forward to some warm temperatures this weekend, but things are pretty sporadic and wet across Canada. Let's take a look at the west here. As you can see, Vancouver has rain. They're pretty used to that. Rain all week for them, but some warmer temperatures, so not too bad, give and take. In Edmonton, it's kind of similar here in Calgary, up and down, fog throughout this morning. They're going to see rain tomorrow, and then on Saturday, they'll get that sunshine that we're hoping for here. Regina and Winnipeg both seeing a bit of snow, some more kind of rain, snow, sleet in that area. Let's move on to the east now, where there's a few low pressure systems kind of floating around in Ontario, Quebec, bringing in a lot of rain and snow again. More rain here in Toronto, warm temperature there of 16, so again, give and take there. Montreal, 7 degrees with some more rain, so not terrible. You can still get out and do something with your day, just bring your umbrella with you. If you're looking to go somewhere warm where there isn't as much rain, check out these resorts. After a hot night at T-Mobile Arena, Vegas has cooled down to 20 degrees. Orlando and Cancun are both seeing a bit of sun through the clouds. The islands are being hit by some rain. Honolulu is currently at 27 degrees. And Palm Springs and Barbados are cloudy but warm, sitting at 28. 1 degree was our high today here in Calgary. Periods of snow throughout the day, but better than that freezing rain, which was pretty dangerous this morning. 20 to 40 kilometers an hour for wind gusts today, but we are going to be warming up, and that's something we're all looking forward to for the weekend. Let's take a look at the rest of Alberta now. So a little bit of change happening here throughout today and for the next few days as a couple low pressure systems kind of get pushed through by a jet stream heading eastern there. Fort McMurray, very nice, sunny up there, still a bit cold though. As you kind of move south, it gets a lot wetter and sleet, as we were talking about, freezing rain, snow, depending on what area you're in. In Banff, 4 degrees, but with snow, so if you're skiing in Lake Louise in that area, you might be doing okay. Let's now take a look at the 5-day forecast, where we can see that sunshine we've all been waiting for on Saturday, a high of 11 degrees, first double digits of the spring. We're looking forward to that. Unfortunately, a bit more rain at the start of next week, but hopefully we won't get any more snow and we can stay dry out here. The only people hoping for snow are the skiers. I think they're going to have to take advantage of their last weekend here, and here's some resorts to tell you who's open and who's closed. Lake Louise is featuring mostly groomed runs and has got a bit of snow today, so should be a great weekend in the Rockies. Sunshine Village is going to add a few centimeters to their base of 208. Sunshine Resort is our snowcation hill of the day with those numbers. Expect a mix of sun and clouds and nice temperatures if you are heading there this weekend. Nakiska has a base of 110 centimeters and some sun on the way. Should be a good place to get that spring goggle tan. Fernie is heading into its final weekend and is receiving a fluffy boost thanks to 12 centimeters of snow today. 62 of the 142 runs it features are open. Kimberley's Rail Park is open as well as 75 other runs. 27 of those are groomed and are probably your best bet for some clean spring skiing. Big White is the first victim of the spring as they have decided to close up shop, getting ready for mountain biking season this summer.
Now, Keith, I know we spoke about the NHL playoffs at the beginning of the show with yesterday's matchups, but tonight got a couple more. I'm really excited for that San Jose Sharks Anaheim Ducks matchup, but more importantly, that Boston Bruins Toronto Maple Leafs should be a great one.
Yeah, I mean, once your home team is out, like the Flames, you got to kind of root for those Canadian teams. So, the Jets and the Leafs, as hard as it is, those are the teams that everybody's rooting for. College athletic recruiting has taken a hit publicly lately as the NCAA deals with multiple scandals. Replacing graduating players can be a tall task for any recruiter. SAIT Athletics takes a full team approach when it comes to adding fresh faces to various teams. Coaches get the process started early, identifying specific areas of need with a whole summer ahead and holes to fill on nearly every team. It's shaping up to be a busy spring and summer recruiting season. However, the athletic department is far from the only thing prospective Trojans take into consideration. The quality of schooling and available programs are another major determining factor, especially when it comes to athletes transferring from other schools.
We do have a lot of transfers because our school is rather big, and we get people looking for specialized education. So they'll transfer in after more of a general education, and then we get to work them into our transfer protocol.
The Trojans men's volleyball team is set to benefit from a student transfer during the 2018-2019 season. 6'11" Brennan Willis will join the Trojans next year after playing the last 2 seasons as a member of the Mount Royal Cougars. The NBA playoffs are now set, which means we know who the Raptors will face in round 1. We have our NBA analyst, Danny Seymour, live in the newsroom. Danny, who will the Raps be taking on, and what are some of the other matchups that fans can get excited about?
Well, the Raptors are in unfamiliar territory, being the top seed heading into this year's playoffs, but they will be facing a familiar foe in the Washington Wizards. Many Raptors fans will remember the tough 2015 series that saw the Wizards come into Toronto and sweep the higher-seeded Raptors. The team will be hoping for a different fate this go-around and will need a good series from the bench mob to exact some revenge. That series tips off on Saturday at 3:30. Other series in the East include the Kyrie Irving-less Boston Celtics taking on Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Milwaukee Bucks. LeBron James and the Cavs will face the Indiana Pacers, and the Miami Heat will square up against the Philadelphia 76ers. The West sees the top-seeded Houston Rockets taking on Andrew Wiggins and the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Golden State Warriors will start their title defense against the San Antonio Spurs. Dame Lillard and the Portland Trail Blazers will face off against Anthony Davis and his New Orleans Pelicans teammates, and the Utah Jazz will square up against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Toronto will face expectations of a deep playoff run this year as the #1 seed. Let's see if they meet that expectation. Keith?
Danny Seymour reporting live from the newsroom. As the playoffs start, the Calgary Flames will be watching from home. This year's expectations were sky high and the team failed to live up to them. No word has come from the Flames organization, but many are expecting Gulletson and the team to part ways after a tough season. GM Brad Treliving is also on the hot seat as he traded away their early picks in this June's draft and failed to pick up a bona fide top 6 winger at the deadline, instead opting for Chris Stewart, who the team claimed off waivers. Playoffs started up last night and we saw some good action and a good start from the lone Canadian team in the West. The Jets bested the Minnesota Wild by a score of 3-2. Patrick Laine shows he can be just as prolific in the playoffs as he was in the regular season, as the Jets get their first win in franchise history. The Battle of Pennsylvania was anything but a battle. Sidney Crosby scores a natural hat trick as the Penguins lay a whooping on their in-state rival. Brian Elliott was pulled after allowing 5 goals and no word on if he will get the start in Game 2. Vegas showed last night that they deserve to be in the playoffs as much as any team. They played the game that has made them so successful all year, and they locked it down defensively and just plain outworked the Kings to take a 1-0 lead. Looking forward to tonight, we got 5 games on the slate with Toronto being the only Canadian team in action. The nightcap will be the all-California matchup between the Anaheim Ducks and the San Jose Sharks. Jigs, Anarchy, Toxie. Just a few of the bruisers out there on the track last night for the women's roller derby. The Calgary Roller Derby Association has been operating for the past 12 years. As Sheehan Haggerty reports, the league continues to thrive and an increased focus has been put on growing the sport.
It's full of thrills, spills, and crazy outfits. It's roller derby at its finest. The Calgary Roller Derby Association is made up of 3 house teams, a B-level team, and an A-level all-star squad. Members of those teams have taken on a pivotal role when it comes to getting new faces to try the sport. The consensus around the track was the more teams, the merrier.
The sport itself
has such a huge turnover because you have women who have full-time jobs or are mothers or things in life, changes happen all the time. So if you don't bring up the younger generation, then you can't have a constant feed of people coming through because the turnover itself is already pretty significant. So it's nice to have something that keeps it going.
Most Canadians think of hockey or soccer first when it comes to starting a new athletic adventure. CRDA realizes the importance of getting to potential members early.
So I think that us starting a kids program with a bit of the grown-ups shadowing and being there is an inspirational way to say to kids, hey, you can play sports. Maybe it's roller derby, maybe it's something else, but look how much fun this is.
The Junior Roller Derby is open to kids of any gender between the ages of 6 and 17. The season typically runs from April to June, with games being held at Tri-Wood Arena. The Calgary Roller Derby Association's 2018 season kicks off on April 21st with a doubleheader. The first game features Calgary's B-52 Bellas taking on Edmonton's Eville Skaters before the Thrashin' Lassies try and take out the Midwest Mavericks. For SAIT Newsfile, I'm Sheehan Haggerty.
And that is a look at sports. So, Matt, how are you feeling about the Raptors' playoff chances this year?
I don't know, going in as the #1 seed, I think they got a pretty good opportunity to go deep into the playoffs. The big thing for them is if that bench mob is going to get going too. You know, that consistent scoring they have is huge.
Yeah, it'll be tough. I mean, LeBron James, he's going to meet you in the Eastern Conference Finals every year, it seems.
Yeah. Up next, we have a video that proves just being yourself is always fun. Alex, Keith, I like to think that I have some pretty slick dance moves, but this little girl definitely shows me up.
Just be you, have fun with it.
Yeah, I definitely don't have that kind of confidence out on the dance floor.
Man, I think you got to have a little bit of rhythm to have confidence, and I'm definitely lacking in both.
You won't let cha-cha slide. I've seen you do that before.
Yeah, hey, that's my go-to, you know? You get the hands at the chest and you just cha-cha.
And on that note, for Keith Richards and Alex Day, I'm Matt Pouncey. Have a great night, Calgary.